Okay, so in last lecture we discussed about the different types of energies, that was the renewable and non-renewable energy. Today we are going to discuss about the role of an individual in the conservation of natural resources. Okay, so first what we studied in this chapter, we studied first different types of resources like forest resource, water resources, food resources, energy, land, mineral resources. Okay, and in energy resources we studied about the different types of energies, that was again renewable energy and non-renewable energy. Okay, so after that today we are going to learn about the role of an individual in the conservation of natural resources. So natural resources, what can be the role of individual in the resource conservation? See, until fairly recently, human acted as if we could endlessly exploit the earth ecosystem and natural resource like soil, water, forest and grassland or mineral and fuels. However, in last few decades, it has become increasingly evident that the global ecosystem has the capacity to sustain only a limited level of utilization. Means at a critical point, increasing pressure on this natural balance, it will lead to the degradation of these natural resources. And these resources such as forest, wetland, grassland, ocean means renewable are being degraded by overuse and may be permanently destroyed. And no natural resource is limitless. Again, the non-renewable resources will be rapidly exhausted if we continue to use them extensively or over the limit. Okay, so the two most damaging factors, for these natural resources which leads to the depletion of natural resources, they are increasing consumerization, or the consumers are increasing day by day, and again the society and the rapid population growth. Okay, consumerism and rapid population growth, these both factors are the result of choices we make as an individual, and these are the damaging factors which leads to the depletion of natural resources. So as an individual, what we need to decide first, what will we leave to our children? We have to decide, or we have to think about that, what will we leave to our children? We are thinking of short term. Okay, short term we are thinking, but we have to think about the long term. And again, is my material gain someone else loss? Means we are gaining, we are using the resources, but the same time we have to think about the others. If my gain may lead to someone else loss. Also, these two things are very important. The population growth and the resulting shortage of resources most severely affect the people in the developing countries. In a nation such as India, which are both developing rapidly and suffering from the population explosion, both factors are responsible for the environmental degradation in our India. So we must ask ourselves if we have perhaps reached a critical flashpoint at which economic development affects the lives of people more adversely than the benefits it provides. Now it is the time to think about our, whether our economic development it is leading to the adverse effect on environment or not. So what can be the role of individual? What we can do, being a student of environmental studies, we are studying environmental science. So what can be done to conserve the energy or to use these resources sustainably? In case of energy resource, here small things are given. What? See, let's do it. See, turn off the lights and fans as soon as you leave the room. These are the small things but which can contribute to the sustainable development. Okay, so turn off the lights and fans as soon as you leave the room. and use the tube lights and energy efficient bulbs such as CFLs and LED bulbs that save energy rather than using that incandescent bulbs, that yellow bulbs. Okay. A 40-watt tube light gives as much as light as 100-watt bulb. Again, a 25-watt CFL gives as much light for the same bulb. And finally, depending on the level of illumination chosen, a 3-watt LED equivalent in the output to a 45-watt incandescent bulb. Okay, so this is about the small things that we can do for the conservation of energy resource. Again, keep the bulbs and tubes clean. Dust on the tubes and bulbs decrease the lightning levels by 20 to 30%. So अगर लाइट नहीं आ रहा है तो एक छोड़ के हम दूसरा लाइट लगाते हैं, दूसरा रूम में होते हैं तो, but if you keep your tubes and bulbs clean, it gives the bright light. Okay, and if there is a dust, it reduces the light by 20 to 30%. Switch off the televisions or radio as soon as the program of interest is over. The small things make a big difference. It can make a big difference. Again, a pressure cooker can save up to 75% of energy required for cooking. It is also a faster pressure cooker. It cooks the food using the pressure, so it takes less energy and less time. So use pressure cooker while cooking. Again, keep the vessels covered with a lid during cooking, which helps to cook the food faster, thus saving the energy. Okay, so these are the small things which can contribute to the conservation or energy. This is about the role of an individual. And again, you can create, the most important thing is create awareness amongst the people. So with you have to make other peoples aware about these problems of this natural resources, problem related with this natural resources. Now, second one is the equitable use of resources for sustainable lifestyle. The two things can be done. First is the conservation, and after that equitable use of resources for sustainable lifestyle. Okay, so equitable use of resources for sustainable lifestyle. Reducing the unsustainable and unequal use of resources and controlling our population growth are the essential for survival of our nation and indeed of humans everywhere. So our environment provides a variety of goods and services necessary for our day-to-day life that we know very well. But the soil, water, climate, solar energy, which form a biotic support that we derive from the nature or environment, are not distributed evenly throughout the world or within the countries. As I already told you, that there is unequal distribution of these resources. Few people they use water extensively, overuse the water, and few people in few areas even they are not getting water for the drinking purpose. So there is an unequal distribution of these resources throughout the world or within the countries. Okay, so a new economic order at the global and at a national level must be based on the ability to distribute the benefits of natural resources by sharing them more equally among the countries as well as among the communities within the countries. And it is at the local level where people subsist by the sale of locally collected resources that the disparity is greatest. Okay, and development has not reached them, and they are often unjustly accused or exploiting the natural resources. Now, see, there are several principles that each of us can adopt to bring about the sustainable lifestyle. How we can bring about the sustainable lifestyle? This primarily comes from caring for the earth in all respect. Very important thing. This means caring for the earth, for the mother earth in all respect. A love and respect for nature is the greatest sentiment that helps to bring about a feeling for looking at how we use the natural resources in a new and sensitive way. If you love and if you respect the nature, then automatically you will use that resources sustainably and in a sensitive way. Okay, think of the beauty of wilderness, natural forest in all its magnificence, and the expanse of a green grassland, the clean water of a lake that supports so much life. You should show love among all the animals, from the small insect up to the giant animals, as our Dadaji always says. Okay, so according to that, if your vision towards the mother earth, if it get changed, you will start using these resources, natural resources, very sustainably and in a sensitive way. We cannot help but we can support the conservation of nature's wealth. If we respect these, we cannot commit acts that will deplete our life supporting system. Means if you start loving and if you start respecting your mother earth or our environment, so if we are loving that all the things, we cannot commit acts that will deplete our life supporting system. Means we will not behave the way which will leads to the depletion of that resources or that life supporting system, because we are loving it, because we are caring for it, because we are having respect for it. So all these are the role of individual in the conservation of natural resources and equitable use of resources for the sustainable lifestyle. Okay, so this is all about the second chapter, which was the natural resources. Okay, any doubts?
Excuse me, ma'am. Few girls are waiting for the lecture and they are saying that you are not admitting them.
Okay, it's the problem that this meeting, it automatically gets locked after 15 minutes. Okay, just wait. Okay, so this was all about the natural resources and the role of the individual. Now the third chapter that will start today is the ecosystems. Okay, ecosystem, the concept of ecosystem. We'll see what is the concept of ecosystem. So before that, see, I want to announce something. Harshada, your CR, you just create a group which will be only for EVS. Okay, and on that
Yes,
group,
ma'am.
and on that group you all start sharing your email IDs, because see, in next week I'll give you one topic for the project, or we'll discuss about the project, because for this semester you have to submit the project. Okay, so for your when I'll give you topic, you have to submit that project to me in a soft copy. So for that I need to create a Google Classroom for your class. Okay, so for that I need your email IDs. So once you create a group for EVS, you just start sharing your email IDs. Okay, so yes, so using that email ID, I will create the Google Classroom and you can assign your work on that Google Classroom. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How you are all submitting your other works for other subject
We
assignments?
send it through emails. Yes, we mail it like ma'am has appointed some of them,
Huh.
and they collect the assignments through emails, and we just keep it in a folder and then send it to ma'am.
Okay, that you are doing. Okay,
Yes.
means you are sending a whole folder to ma'am, but only one person is
Yes,
sending.
one.
Okay,
Yes, one. No, one or two
okay,
people.
okay, okay. But it is, I think all your subjects are optional, na? And for compulsory subjects, what you're doing?
Um, Compulsory till now, there's no
No.
assignment. Like
Okay.
they're
Okay.
not given assignment till now.
Okay. 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 So let's start with the third chapter, that is ecosystem. Okay. So the concept of an ecosystem. What is ecosystem? Do you have any idea about the ecosystem? So many times we heard this word ecosystem. Ecos. See, this word is combination of two words, that is ecos and system, that is ecosystem. So ecosystem is a region with a specific and recognizable landscape form such as a forest, grassland, desert, wetland or coastal area. What is ecosystem? Is a region with a specific and recognizable landscape form such as forest, grassland, desert, wetland and coastal area. And the nature of the ecosystem, it depends on the geographical features like hills, mountain, plains, rivers, lakes, coastal area, island, and is also controlled by sunlight, temperature, rainfall of that region. See, we can see in the Himalayan region or the climatic conditions, sunlight, temperature, they are variable from in the southern region, means in the northern region of India the temperature condition, sunlight, it is different than the southern area. So the ecosystem which are present in the northern area, they are different from the southern area because of the geographical features. So these are the things, geographical things on which there is a ecosystem, the nature of the ecosystem is depends. And again, what happens in the ecosystem is nothing but the interaction between the biotic and abiotic factor of nature in a particular or specific defined area. Okay, it is nothing but the interaction between abiotic and biotic factors of the environment in a particular area. Suppose we consider as a forest as a ecosystem. So in a forest there is interaction between the factor, the biotic and abiotic factors of forest only. Ocean ecosystem, there is interaction between the plants and animals and the abiotic factor of the ocean only. So this is nothing but the interaction between abiotic and biotic factors of particular or specific area. So the it has a two components. Any ecosystem, it has two components, that is abiotic factors such as geographical, climatic and soil. It forms the non-living or abiotic components. Abiotic means non-living, and the plants and animals present in this area, they forms the biotic or the living component of the ecosystem. Okay, so the concept of ecosystem is, what is ecosystem? It is the region with a specific and recognizable landscape which such as forest and grassland, or in other words you can define it as the interaction between biotic and abiotic factor in a specific area. Okay, that is the ecosystem. And see, in our India, at the national level or at the state level, there are different biogeographic regions are present. Means which are different, which differs from each other in geographical condition. Okay, at the state level or at the national level, we are having different biogeographic regions which differs from each other in a geographic condition. So in India, we have several geographical regions such as Himalayas, Himalayan region, Gangetic Plains, Central India or highlands of Central India, again Western Ghat, Eastern Ghat, the semi-arid region of the desert, that is desert. Again Deccan Plateau, the coastal belt and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay, So I think all these names you might heard before this, so many times use in, अगर आपने geography पढ़ा होगा तो 10th तक या उसके बाद, तो India is having different biogeographical region. India is classified into different biogeographical region like Himalayas, Gangetic Plains, highlands of central India, Western Ghat, Eastern Ghat, desert, Deccan Plateau, coastal belt, and Andaman Nicobar Islands. Okay. So these geographically distinctive areas contain plants and animals, and all these plants and animals, they have adapted to that, to live in a particular area, in that area only. Means अगर हिमालयन रीजन के जो प्लांट्स है उसको लाके हम अगर इधर कोस्टल बेल्ट में या इधर अंडमान एंड निकोबार आइलैंड में लाके अगर उनको रख दे तो दे विल नॉट सर्वाइव. सो the plants and animals, they have adapted themselves to live in that particular region only. Okay, and at an even more local level, each area has several structurally and functionally identifiable ecosystem. In this area they are having different types of ecosystem. Himalayan region में भी aquatic ecosystem हो सकती है या इधर भी हो सकती है अंडमान एंड निकोबार, लेकिन both they vary in their constituents. Okay, so how we can again define ecosystem: the living community of plants and animals in any area together with the non-living components of the environment, that is soil, air and water, and they constitute the ecosystem. Means living community of plants and animals in any area together with non-living. Means interaction between living and non-living factors in a particular area. Okay, so again ecosystem is generally of two types, that is terrestrial or land-based ecosystem and aquatic or water-based ecosystem. Means land-based ecosystem या water-based ecosystem, or it may be present on the land or it may be present on the inside the water or at the surface of water. Okay, so understanding the ecosystem, how it works and how it is functionally made up of and structurally made up of. What is the structure of ecosystem? We'll see. And understanding the ecosystem, the natural ecosystem, it includes the forests, grassland, desert and aquatic ecosystems such as ponds, rivers, lakes and sea. These are the natural ecosystem, that is forest, grassland, desert, aquatic. And in aquatic again pond, river, lakes and sea. And human modified ecosystems are there, such as agriculture land, because in agriculture it is everything is controlled by human being, what are the crops they are growing. Okay, so it is human modified agriculture land and other urban or industrial land. Okay, some some parks है, artificial gardens है, by man-made gardens है. And again we can see the aquarium, जो हमारे घर में aquarium होता है, fish aquarium. Okay, so it is also, you can consider as a human modified ecosystem, although it is aquatic but it is human modified. So these are the basic two types of ecosystem, that is natural ecosystem and human modified ecosystem. And each ecosystem has a set of common features. Each and every ecosystem, they show the common feature, and how we have to observe that common feature we'll see. If you want to study a particular ecosystem, so which points you have to take into consideration, that we'll see. See, if you want to take a forest ecosystem as an example, if you want to study that, so for that, first what you need to think about, very first is, what does the ecosystem look like? Very first, if you study about any ecosystem, at that time there are few questions that you have to keep into mind. See, one by one we'll see, what does the ecosystem look like? So one should be able to describe the specific features of the different ecosystems in one own surrounding. For that, what you need the field observations, and in both urban and natural surroundings. So what does that ecosystem look like? अगर आपने एक forest को visit किया, some forest they are having rivers, they are having mountains. So what does the ecosystem look like? That will come under this question. Again, what its structure? What is its structure? Means whether it is a forest or it is a grassland, it is a water body or an agriculture area or grazing area or urban area or industrial area. So what is its structure means whether it is a natural ecosystem or whether it is a man-made ecosystem, that you have to answer here. Again, what is the composition of its plants and animal species? Because the composition of plants and animal species, it varies from region to region. So list the well-known plants and animals you can see in that ecosystem, particular ecosystem, and then document their abundance. Means in a particular forest there are plants, so कुछ plants ऐसे होंगे they are very common, means सारे जंगल में आपको वही plant मिलेंगे, okay, and कुछ plants ऐसे होंगे that is uncommon or rare, okay. So you can write the plants composition of that ecosystem like common, very common, uncommon and rare. So according to that you can document the plants present in that area. Again, in case of wild animal also we can write the common, uncommon, very common and rare. See, if you went to any forest or jungle, the wild animals will not be seen in a large numbers, okay, but cattle would be common, isn't it? Some birds are common. So according to that you can find out which is the most common species. There are many types of insects are there in ecosystem, so they are very common and most abundant, okay. So this is about the composition of its plant and animal species. Now how does the ecosystem works? How does the ecosystem works means how there is interaction between the plants and animals of that ecosystem. Means ecosystem working means what is happening, there is interaction between plants and animals living in that particular area, okay. Are you getting, girls? So how does ecosystem work? The ecosystem functions through several biochemical cycles, and through that biochemical cycle there is a transfer of energy. Means energy transfer mechanism, it occurs through the biochemical cycles. Biochemical cycle means the carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, sulfur cycle, oxygen cycle, all these cycles there is a circulation of energy or transfer of energy from plants to animals. So how does the ecosystem work? So observe and document the components of the ecosystem which consist of its non-living factors such as air, water, climate, soil and its biotic component, that is various types of plants and animals. And both these aspects of ecosystem interact with each other through the several functional aspects to form the ecosystem. So see, plants they are herbivore. Plants they produce their energy using sunlight, and herbivores they are depend on the plant. Carnivores they are depend on the herbivore. So they forms the food chain, and through that food chain there is interaction between biotic and abiotic factor. All these chains are joined together to form a web of life. So producer, then herbivore, carnivore, then top carnivore, then decomposers. So all these they forms a web of life on which the man depend, and each of these food chain uses the energy that comes from the sun and powers the ecosystem. Means for the ecosystem the source of energy is only the sun, because the plants they are using sunlight and they are producing the energy, and that energy is getting circulated in the different food chains, and that different food chains they togetherly forms food and web of life, okay. So this is about the ecosystem, understanding the ecosystem. Now see, there are few structural aspects and functional aspects of ecosystem. Means since each ecosystem has a living and non-living part, and that they are linked to each other through that parts, so one need to look around and observe this closely, which are the living and non-living parts. So non-living components of an ecosystem are, we already discussed about it, that is water, inorganic substances, organic compounds, climatic conditions. Okay, and living organisms or the living components, they are the plants and animals, means the habitat. The living component of plant life ranges from extremely small bacteria. Living component, they ranges from small bacteria, to the giant or the terrestrial plants, big plants. These smaller bacteria, extremely small bacteria, they live in the air, water, and soil. Again, algae, which live in the water, and the terrestrial plants, which range from grasses to herbs. Okay, so plant convert energy from sunlight into organic matter for their growth and development. So that's why they are called as the producers of ecosystem. Why we are calling plants as a producer? Because they use the sunlight and they convert it into organic matter. The sunlight energy they convert into the organic matter, and that's why they are called as a producer of the ecosystem. The living component of the animal world range from the microscopic animal to a small insect and larger animals such as fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Okay, so humans are just one of the 1.8 million species of plants and animals that inhabit the earth. Means human being is just one out of this 1.8 million species of plants and animals. Okay, so we are also the part of this web of life, human beings. So we'll see here structural aspects. What are the structural aspects of the ecosystem, of any ecosystem? We are talking this in common for any ecosystem. See, the structural aspects, this refers to all the elements that make up an ecosystem. The individual and the communities of plants and animals, as well as the non-living natural resources present in the ecosystem. Means what are the structural aspects? The structures, whatever the structures they are present in the ecosystem, starting from the plants and animals and different organic and inorganic compounds. See, inorganic compounds such as carbon, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, water. Organic compounds, proteins, carbohydrate, lipids, which links the biotic and abiotic aspects. These proteins, carbohydrate, lipids, we are getting this from the plants. So this links up the biotic and abiotic aspects of this ecosystem. Again, climatic conditions, that is temperature, moisture, light, topography, it is again under the structural aspect. Producers, plants. Again, macro consumer, macro means larger, that is phagotrophs, that is large animals, and micro consumer means saprotrophs, that is the small, and absorber like fungi means which needs for the decomposition of dead and decay material. Okay, so these are the structural aspect, different types of aspects: organic, inorganic, climatic conditions, producers, and consumers. Now what are the functional aspects? The functional aspects means this refers to all the services, means whatever the services and processes and the interactions performed by the organism in that ecosystem. These are the functional aspect, means the functions and the processes and the interactions performed by these structural aspects, it comes under the functional aspects. So energy cycles means, whose mic is unmute? Will you please mute your mic? So the functional aspect means this refers to the services, processes, interaction that performed by the organism in ecosystem. It comes under this. The energy cycles means carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen cycle means how there is a flow of energy in ecosystem. Again, food chains, different types of food chains are there. Diversity means interlink between the organism, and nutrient cycle, that is biogeochemical cycles. And evolution. So all these are the processes that occurs in the ecosystem, in any ecosystem, and that are considered as a functional aspects of the ecosystem. Functional aspect means what? Whatever the processes, interactions in the biotic and abiotic factors of that ecosystem. Okay, so that is the functional aspects. Okay, so for today I think this is okay for today. So today we learn about the basic things of the